Welcome to my channel. This video is for two mini mums. I'll be showing you how I attach the ribbon streamers on both of them, one full backer and then partial backer on the other one. Don't forget to join my YouTube family by subscribing and tapping the bell for notifications on my uploads and live streams. I also have memberships available if you're interested in that. My backer size is almost 5 inches. It's just below 5 inches, about 4.75, but you can use about 4.5 to 5.5 for these size mums. The largest ribbon I'm using is a 2.5 inch width, and I cut it about 14 inches long. I need 12 inches for the streamers, so I cut it a little bit longer to make sure I have plenty to staple to the backer. So if whatever length you're doing for your mum, you want to add 1 or 2 inches to staple to your backer. So if you tell somebody you're doing 18-inch streamers, cut the ribbons about 20 inches, 19 to 20 inches to make sure you have enough. That's the braid or the chain I made for it, so I just want to make sure that it's the right length the ribbon is before attaching it. I've already pre-cut all the ribbons, and I just gradually make them smaller or shorter, because I want it longest in the middle, and then as it goes out wider, I want it to get shorter and shorter. I just really like that look. It's one of my favorite looks. You probably know that if you've watched several of my videos or looked at any of my finished mums. It's just really is my favorite look. But you can make these any length you want. You can do them all the same length. You can do even more gradual than this. I've done like where they're really chunky looking, like there's on the side, the ribbons on the side get shorter and shorter, but like bigger chunks, not just like a half an inch or an inch, like 2 inches or 3 inches shorter. Usually on the bigger mums I'll do that though, and I like that look as well, but I like to change it up and do different looks. So I'm just working my way out. I start in the middle, and then I do the 2 ribbons on each side of that one, and then the 2 ribbons on the side of that one. So I just keep working my way out, and you can see the middle, it's about the same length, and then I'll just gradually get shorter and shorter. And I don't have like a pre-set amount that I cut these to, like one, each color of ribbon. I don't, maybe it's a half an inch shorter, maybe it's an inch shorter. I mean, I just really kind of eyeball it. I measure those first like 3, and then I just get shorter and shorter, and I just, like I said, I just eyeball it. It's not a set amount. So you'll notice that some of them will be, like I said, more gradual than the other ones, and some of them will be more dramatic looking as they get shorter. So it's really just whatever mood I'm in, honestly. So here's the next set. And as you can tell, this is red, white, and blue. There was actually 3 of these mums. These were my very first mums of the season. They actually weren't even for homecoming. They were for, these girls were seniors, so they were just to start out their senior year. They wanted them, the moms wanted them for the first day of school. This wasn't even a school that does homecoming mums. They just wanted to do something special for their 3 seniors. So they were similar in looks, but I wanted to make them all look somewhat different, so they're all unique for each girl. So I tried to attach the streamers in a different color pattern each time. I think one of them I didn't do any white, and I just did the color schemes a little bit differently, or the pattern, whatever you want to call that. I decided to go one more streamer there with red, and I'm just measuring to see how much. And you see I did a little bit more dramatic gradual on that one. So here is the chain that I made, and I have a video tutorial for that that's been loaded up for a few months now, and I will put a card. Look at the top of the screen when a card slides across. I'll give you this tutorial and then the ones that also go with these mums, because I did a backer tutorial too for the 3rd one that you won't see on this video. I did the backer for that one, and it's already been loaded up for at least 2 or 3 months. So you'll see a card slide across for that. I made tutorials for each loop chain that I made for them, so I will put a card on the top for all of those as well. Now I'm going to make the backer that you just saw me attaching. So I have got 3 sizes of ribbons. I've got 2.5, 1.3 inch, which is also 1 5/16, and 7/8 inch width. These are cut at 5 inches long. The backer is about 5 inches in diameter. So I'm just going to layer these ribbons, and then I'm going to angle them from corner to corner, and that just updates your layered loops a little bit there. This is one of my ideas, something that I came up with a few years ago, and I've been sharing this. You know, I can't say that somebody else hasn't came up with it as well, but I had never seen it before, and I do know that there is somebody else teaching this technique, but they are not giving me credit for it. And I know they've watched some of my other videos because they're using some of my other techniques and ideas. So it's just YouTube etiquette for if you learn a technique or get an idea, inspiration from another YouTuber, you should always give them a shout out. You should put a link to their video in your description, or an @ in their channel, something like that, just to say, hey, this person taught me this, or I got inspiration from this person. It's like I said, it's just YouTube etiquette. So please, if you go on to teach any of these techniques that I teach you or ideas, please just give me a shout out. It's just showing respect. And on that note, I love to see y'all's ideas. I love to see y'all's finished mums. I love to see when you use ideas that I have taught you and techniques. So please share those on Pinterest or wherever and let me see them. I love that. I love when you take my ideas and put your own spin on it. It's really fun for me to see all that. The only thing I do not like is when people take my photos off of my Pinterest page or off my Etsy shop listings and then try to use those photos on their listings on wherever they're selling and try to sell mums using my photos of my work. I've had that issue a couple of times this year, so I just want to say, no, you do not have my permission to use my photos of my work. If you're trying to sell mums, that's great. I wish you all the luck in the world, but please use your own photos of your own work. You are setting yourself up for disaster. I mean, because if you're not using your own work, somebody is going to expect the work that they see the photos of. And when you make your mum, you have your own style, and they are not going to be happy that it's a completely different style. So you're setting yourself up for failure, basically. So I did 4 more loops with the red acetate on the bottom, which is the same width. So these were all the same loops. I just did a different color scheme for the next 4 there. And I'm going to attach the first 4 in a north, south, east, and west pattern, or plus sign, as Connie says. So either one of those will work. So if you have 4 loops, that's the pattern I like to attach them on. And I start at one end, I go opposite. So if you go north and then south, and just try to attach them in the same on the backer, the same amount, like off of the backer or towards the center, however you want to say that. So they're all even, and then try to get them straight across as much as you can. I use my mat, I use my scissors, just to kind of help guide me, and I also drew a circle on there using the smaller spool of ribbon that helps guide me too on where I'm attaching the loop onto the backer. So all those little things, you can do little things like that to help you attach these nice and evenly. Because there's nothing worse than getting your mum made and realizing one of those loops is like sticking out further than the other, and that was not the style you were going for. So it just doesn't look professional. So here I'm on the last one. And once I get this last one attached, then I will attach all the red ones in between all the white loops. And it's very easy to attach those next 4 because you just want to use those first 4 as your guide on where to attach the next 4. You just want to attach them evenly in between. And I trimmed all these off. Sometimes if you trim them off nice and neatly, it also helps you attach them more evenly on there. So now they're all attached, and I also layered some glitter ribbons and some printed megaphone ribbons on the white ones, on the white loops, and now I'm going to do the same with the red, but I'm doing gingham and red glitter. And I just cut the length I need, and you can pre-cut these or you can just work off the spool, and then I just hot glue them on there. Now you could go ahead and cut these at 5 inches and staple them to your backer as you're layering all those other ribbons. But when you do it this way, you actually save about an inch for each ribbon, for each loop. And so if you add that up, you're saving quite a bit of ribbon doing it this way. So it just depends on what you want to do. And then I always put my flour in there as I'm making the backer, just to make sure everything's looking good, that it's the right size, doesn't need more stuff on it. So that just helps me. I always have my flour nearby so I can always stick it in there and, see how it's looking. Now I'm going to make some swirls with Deco mesh tubing and chenille stems. So you just want to roll that up, and you want to make sure that the Deco mesh tubing is over the chenille stem when you start rolling. That way it doesn't come undone and start pulling down. So when you start twisting it with the needle nose pliers, you want to make sure that you're grabbing both the Deco mesh tubing and the chenille stem, and that the tubing is over the chenille stem just a little bit. You just want to tighten it really tight at the beginning, and then just keep swirling, and then I just staple it on. I was having a little issue there with the stapler. Sometimes you staple something and it doesn't really staple. Kind of miss it. And I thought I could kind of push it under the staple, but it didn't work. So I had to start over. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 of these together. I'm going to have them facing each other so it ends up looking like a swirly heart. And then on the opposite side, I'll do 2 on the opposite side too, so it looks like there's another heart over there. I wanted these girls to all have a different, unique backer, so I made the backers all completely different. They all had tubing on there, but I did the tubing in different techniques for each one. Okay, again, I'm starting with a 5-inch backer, or approximately 5 inches. You can be a little over, a little under. And I've got some ribbons cut at 3 inches long. These are going to be for like spikes or tails. I would prefer to call them spikes, I think, over tails, but either one is fine. And then 5 inches for the loops. So I am layering 2 ribbons for the spikes, and that's a 2.5 inch silver, and then a 1.3 inch or 1 5/16 inch, and they're both, you can use acetate or Lustre or polypropylene, and I cut them together. That way the V shape or the dovetail matches up. So I always layer them, fold them, you don't crease it, cut it at an angle, and then those 2 dovetails or V shapes will be identical. Now I'm just taking a smaller roll of ribbon again, encircling that, just drawing a circle in there so I kind of know where to attach them at. Now you can go ahead and staple these or glue these on just like it was where the ends meet, or you can back that top one down just a little bit so there's a gap there. I like it like this, where there's a little gap where you can see that underneath ribbon all the way around. It's like it's outlining that top ribbon. So I'm just attaching that first one, trying to get it on there even and straight, and give it a couple of staples. And I always say that's my north side. So I'm giving the north side first, and then I'll do the south side. Just try to give it evenly across, and make sure that you're attaching them the same distance on the mum backer too, like not further off or on the backer, so they're all even, the spikes and the loops and stuff. And then I go east and west after I do the north and south ones. So very easy to cut that V shape. You see how I'd pull that top one down just a little bit so you can see the outline. And again, I just want to make sure that I'm attaching it evenly, the same distance off, and right in the middle of the north and south one. I've got the kind of triangle shape between the spikes there, and that's where you can attach your loops there. You can attach your loops on top of the spikes and then attach smaller ones in between, or you could attach bigger loops in between the spikes and then go over the spikes with something else. It's just whatever design you want to go with. And now for my last spike. I didn't get to finish showing the backer, the filming cut off for some reason, so I apologize for that. It is the one on the left. You can see I made some big loops, and then I did some swirls with the Deco mesh tubing there between the big loops and on top of the spikes, and then there's the other backer as well. And for the last ribbon streamers, again I'm using around a 5-inch backer. I think this one is about 4 3/4 inch. So just close to 5 inches is what I use. And then for my first ribbon streamer, it's a 2.5 to 2.25 inch, 2 3/4 inch width ribbon, and I'm cutting a dovetail or V shape. I cut it about 14 inches long to make sure it's long enough, because I want the ribbon streamers to be 12 inches long, but you need extra to attach it to the backer. And I just held up that chain to make sure that I did attach the ribbon streamer long enough for the chain, since I already had the chain made. And I always like to start in the center. That's just my style. That's just the way I like to do it. And then I kind of gradually get shorter and shorter. So I'm going with the red. This is a 1 5/16 inch or 1.3 inch acetate. Again, you can use Lustre or polypropylene. Just be careful mixing up the different kinds of ribbons because the colors never completely match up. And with white, I found that acetate and Lustre are really the crisp white. So if you do the polypropylene, even though it's cheaper, it is not that crisp white. It's more of like a pearl white. So just keep that in mind. So each ribbon streamer is going to be just a little bit shorter again. And I tried to do them all differently, like layer the ribbons all differently so they all had a unique look to them. And these are red, white, and navy. And I'm cutting a V shape on the bottom of every ribbon. And I believe I do 5 on each side of the middle one. And that's usually around what I do. Sometimes I attach the ribbons closer together, so I do more. Sometimes they're further apart. It just depends. But 5 on each side of the middle one so 11 ribbon streamers is a good go-to. I try not to make these very wide for my Etsy customers because it makes it very difficult to box them up. So if you've seen some of the ones that I made locally in the past, they're really wide. That's the reason. I don't have to worry about boxing them up. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please subscribe. Don't forget to tap the bell for notifications. And share, like, comment. Please be kind with your comments. Please be kind to others. And as always, happy mum making, everyone.